This is Colin Digits. I'm here with the Digits Club, and I got Danush here from Artsdao. Welcome. I hope
Thank
you're
you very
well.
much. Yes,
Today, we're going to explore your great project because obviously I've done some research and see some big names, see some big events coming up. Could you give us a little bit of an introduction about what you guys do, who you are, and what the actual goal of the project is, perhaps?
Sure, absolutely. So let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Danush. I was born and raised in Sweden and moved to Dubai about 6 years ago. Been in the crypto space for the last 4 years. And previous to that, I've started up several companies myself. I started my first company when I was 17 and just continued that way. I've also worked for a few multinationals like AkzoNobel. AkzoNobel is actually a Dutch company, and Procter & Gamble back in Sweden. About in 2016, I got into crypto. I got interested in crypto back in 2013 because of what I thought it would do to the existing financial systems. But 2016, I decided to dip my toes and get into it. And about a year ago, 1.5 years ago, I met with a guy called Anas, who is the co-founder now, Artsdao. I met with him here in Dubai at a tequila tasting. And we were having a few glasses of tequila, and we kind of hit it off, and we started talking about crypto. And one thing led to another, and I said, "Look, I met him again 2 weeks later, and I said, look, I'm thinking about starting a podcast about crypto and NFTs. Would you be interested?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So we started the Crypto Sheikhs podcast. So it's now the leading kind of crypto NFT podcast coming out of the UAE. We've had some amazing guests, and we're looking to now expand it. So we're having a partnership now, most likely with Mercedes, where we will be doing the podcast in a big Mercedes Viano van. And we're having all these like kind of NFT influencers, celebrities that want to come to the UAE. We're right now in talks with them. Most of them are US based. It's boxers, it's rappers, it's artists, celebrities, and they all want to come here. So we're most likely gonna host all of them in the van and talk to them about NFTs and the cool. Web3 and all these things. And we started the podcast back in May last year, and really quickly it kind of took off, and people started to really like the brand. And in the same kind of around the same time, I was talking to Anas about maybe starting a business together in the space. So we were looking at different problems that we were seeing in the Web3 space, and we're both really passionate about NFTs. So we were like, what is it in the NFT space that we can do to help people? What is it that we can do to help people? And we saw that most people, whether it was artists, they didn't fully understand the space. They were interested because they saw the kind of monies that were being made, but they didn't really understand the space. So the whole idea of Artsdao initially was to bridge the gap and educate people and help them get into Web3. And then we were talking about how can we help collectors and investors to better make more informed decisions. So the whole idea in the beginning was, let's just research the space, because we're new to the space. We don't really fully understand it. No one really does. Let's really understand the space. So we were like really researching the space, talking to artists, talking to investors, connecting with the community here in Dubai. And we actually hosted our first, it's probably the first NFT meetup in Dubai ever. This was back in August last year. And we hosted a small meetup with Christelle Bashara, who is now the artist that does the art for our NFT drop. So she was one of the first NFT artists coming out of this region, and she's like, you can use my studio to do your meetup. So we brought in 10 people. They were all like holders of some of the blue chip NFTs like punks, apes, cool cats, etc., pudgy penguins. And we didn't know people by name. We just knew them by their Twitter kind of handles.
Right.
And
the whole Web3 thing, yeah.
yeah. We just brought everyone together. We're like, wow, this is like, we brought a small little zoo over here. And then that meetup led to the next meetup a few weeks later, which was 30 people. still at her studio. And then we started to get a lot of, interest in what we were like in being part of this community. We weren't even thinking about Artsdao back then and really building a business. We were just like, let's just see where this community goes and how things develop.
Yeah.
And then about a month later, we had a sponsor. So we rented out one floor of Arts Club, which was where me and Anas actually met for the first time. And that was like our real kind of proper meetup, where we had 100 people. We had some really, really notable people within the NFT space. We had artists, we had collectors, we had VCs, we had some of the sheikhs from the royal family was there. And we were like, wow, like in such a short period of time, we managed to pull together all these amazing people to come to our event. We're like, we're probably onto something here. And a month later, we did a yacht event. So we did a yacht party that was super cool, because there's all, in Dubai, especially, you have loads of yacht parties in Dubai, but a lot of them are quite stiff, or like the crowd is not the right crowd. But when we threw the party, like everyone was there to talk about NFTs, and everyone was there to connect over Web3 related stuff. And it was a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it, and everyone was like so pumped afterwards, and we continued to party after we went on land. And at that time we knew that this community is really strong, what we built here. And after that, Doodles, we did a yacht party with Doodles, we did a yacht party with CloneX, with all CloneX holders. People actually bought CloneX NFTs. I know some people bought them and flew over. We had one guy that flew over from Canada. We had one guy that came from Australia. We had one guy that came over from Iran. So we had all these people flying in from all over the world, which was like amazing. Nothing we had ever expected. Then we did a private event with Gary V. When he was in Dubai, we were able to get him to a roundtable discussion. So we were like 15 people in a meeting room with him, just talking everything Web3 related. We just posted about it on Twitter as well, so you guys can see. And after that, like, our brand just really took off. We have been in talks with Emirates Airlines because they have this big metaverse related project they want to run. We have been in talks with some big brands which I can't really disclose right now, with some celebrities that we're going to do NFT projects with. We recently did an event together with Mercedes where they launched their 12 NFTs for supercars. So all these like opportunities are now coming our way, and I think Dubai is the best place to be in, because Dubai is kind of the melting point for all crypto people, NFT people that just want to do stuff in the space. And the regulatory framework in Dubai is really like crypto and NFT friendly, and tax regulation is also very conducive to people wanting to move over here and start businesses in the NFT space. So we have met a lot of cool people, and like just today, I was on a call with a guy called Nizar, who was part of our Jedi Council. He's really big in the NFT space as well. He was like, I want to do an event with you guys. I want to bring over Farouk from the US. So all this guys, that was my food delivery. Just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna open the door.
That's awesome. We never experienced that before, but of course that's what's life, right? It's like evening time already.
Yeah, it's 7 here in Dubai.
That's all good.
So
Nice.
I'm not gonna eat it now. I'm saving it for later.
Fair enough.
So we're having all these cool partnerships, and we were like, at some point we were like, what can we do for the community, and how can we bring, we've already been bringing loads of value to the community through these events, something that many projects haven't even done. They launch their NFT tokens and then they think about what utility to give, but
Right.
we kind of already built the utility of the community. And our whole idea was, let's build a community and then figure out what the community wants. And one of the things that we saw was that a lot of people don't have the time to sit on Discord 24/7, to sit on Twitter, to search for alpha, to be in all these different alpha groups, and to really gather all the information necessary to outperform the market. So what we decided was, let's create a DAO that is an investment DAO, and we appoint what we call the Jedi Council. So from our community, which is almost 600-700 people now here in just in Dubai, we have now appointed 16 people that we believe are the top people in the space. Either they are whales, they are really good traders, they are VCs that have access to deal flows. All these people, we brought them together around one table, and they would be the ones leading the investment decisions of the DAO. So we will have a market research team that is separate. So they will do the groundwork in sourcing deals, being part of the alpha groups and proposing deals to the council. But the ultimate decision lies with the council, and the council is every 6 months will be voted on. So the DAO will decide who will be having a seat on the council. And the members of the DAO can also propose changes to the DAO and to how we do things. And one idea that we have, which we're building out later on, is how can we incentivize people within the community to do things for us. So we might, we're looking at that. I cannot exactly say how that's going to be done right now, but we are considering maybe launching an ERC20 token down the way, which we would airdrop to our holders. But this is further out. So our primary goal is to build this treasury that is a collector's DAO. So we will be collecting blue chip NFTs. We will have we'll be investing into seed stage opportunities. So from within our community, there's a lot of projects coming up from Dubai, and we have early access to them. And also through all the VCs and all the companies that we are dealing with, they also have access to a deal flow, which we will be part of. So we will get early access to a lot of deals which we will be directly investing into as part of our treasury. And then we will allocate around 10% for quick flips. So we will have a trading team that is doing quick flips on behalf of the community. They are the ones kind of grinding and seeking these whitelist opportunities where we believe there could be a high alpha opportunity. And we will also reserve 30% as a bear market reserve, so that if things go south, we will always be able to buy in cheap. So that is part of the allocation strategy of the treasury of the DAO. But what we also are going to be doing is we're going to do advisory services. So the DAO will also be doing advisory services for larger brands, larger projects. We have a great team of developers that we're working with. So we're also outsourcing a lot of stuff from that side. So that is kind of all in all what Artsdao is about. But more than that, we're also raising funds now from VCs. So yesterday we signed a safe agreement with a VC that is coming in with a quite significant amount of capital, and that's going to be used to grow the community and grow the Artsdao brand. So none of the events are sponsored with the funds raised from the NFT drop. So 80% of the NFT drop is actually reinvested on behalf of the community. 20% of it is going towards our operational costs. And we have promised that we're not going to take any profits because we have a 20% performance fee, but we won't take any performance fee unless we reach a 3x return on the treasury. So unless we reach a 3x return for you guys, we won't take any performance fee. So that's kind of where we're standing today.
What would the VC specifically? So you mentioned large investment, right, into the Artsdao, but do they take equity, or what is the asset that they get in return?
Yeah, so we have so right now we're signing so we have a entity incorporated in DMCC, which is a free zone, which most of the crypto companies are incorporated in here in Dubai. So what we're promising is equity in that entity. But equity when we do our first kind of Series A raise, which we're planning to do later this year. So they're signing a safe agreement. The safe, for those of you who don't know, is a simple agreement for future equity, where they agree for equity. They pay us now, but they get equity in the future at a discount versus the market valuation. So that's basically how it works. So
it's compared to, obviously, I mean, we talk with a lot of projects, whether they're games, whether they're NFT projects or what, but we can, I think, all agree today that this is a very serious project, right? You have the NFT covers, the partnerships, potential token, even equity partners coming into play. If you would look at the team right now, how big is your team?
So right now we are 12 people in the team, and you know, we have been so far fully self-funded. We have been funding everything ourselves and with an angel investor as well. But so far everything, you know, for the last 9 months we have been fully operational. Like actually, it's not 9. Yeah, it's like last 10 months we've been running.
Time moves
on.
quick when
Yeah,
you're having
it
fun.
goes really fast. Yeah, it goes really fast. We've been fully funded ourselves, and everything we have done until now has been our own funds and some sponsoring for the events. But other than that, we have not. I mean, obviously, we haven't raised any funds from our NFT drop yet. So, but we have a strong team. Some of the people in our team, I mean, Anas was the co-founder. He was previously a crypto lawyer. He used to work with Binance, you know, Kraken, Coinbase. He used to onboard all of them to checkout.com, which is a payment gateway provider. So he was actually a crypto lawyer. That's how we connected. I myself have started 5 companies previously, and you know, none of them were actually in the crypto space, but I've always been really interested in crypto, and I got into crypto in 2016. So compared to many people, I guess that's early. And then we have, you know, Maria. She's also on the call. She's you know, she's helped launch 7 different NFT projects and be working as an advisor. She's a kind of a project lead, so she's managing all the operational stuff. Other than that, we have Sam, who is you know, he's going to be the guy that's going to lead the fund. So he actually managed a fund worth $2 million previously. Where he deployed that, and he gave the owner of that fund, I don't know, 200-300% X return, and then they, you know, sold everything because the family got sick. So we have a really solid team. We have Raheem, who is a proper degen. He's been in the space for, I think, the last 1.5-2 years. He got into Bored Apes really early on. But you know, we don't believe personally that the strength of our project comes from our team. Yes, our team is solid. Our team is really good at executing, but the real strength comes from the hive mind of the community and the people that are part of it. And the Jedi Council also plays a really important part in everything that we do.
It's in terms of like, obviously, when the mint happens, you get an influx of capital. You distribute the capital by acquiring blue chip projects. Who would define which blue chip is a blue chip? Is it literally on the blue chip on OpenSea, or is it more common courtesy discussed among the group and then a decision is being made by the council? Yeah,
so the blue tick on OpenSea doesn't really mean anything to us. The blue chip projects, the way we define them is projects. You know, we have, to be honest, we have still to figure out exactly how we're going to define it. But the likes of the punks, the Bored Apes, you know, autoglyphs, Fidenzas, Doodles, CloneXs, these are the ones we consider being blue chips because they hold value better than other NFT projects. But also from like within our community, we have Samuel Cardillo. He's the CTO of Artifact. We have Randy, who was the community manager of Artifact, Luxon. We have Poopy, part of our community. He's the founder of Doodles. So all these guys, you know, they're already part of our community, and since they're part of our community, we also have, you know, we have some knowledge that we believe other people may not have, and that's why we can identify.
The network, I mean, is definitely important. Sorry to interrupt you. I think.
Anas is here as well. Yeah, so Anas is the co-founder. He just raised his hand. Maybe we can get him.
I can pull him in. That would be cool. Yeah, I think definitely the network, specifically in such a close, tight space, when you have these people, these connections, that's definitely a huge opportunity. Hey, Anas, how are you? Oh, you're still muted.
You're muted. Yeah. No, exactly. So, and also we believe that we're going to build that out even more through partnerships. We already have other DAOs reaching out to us for partnerships, and all these DAOs have their own specific competences. Some of them are specific on GameFi. Some of them are focused on collectibles. Some of them are focused on fine art. Some of them are focused on more metaverse Web3 related projects. And that also fits in quite well with our strategy. We're almost like the way in the traditional world, how a fund of fund works. We are similar to that, except we're not a fund per se. We're a DAO with a treasury that is allocating towards different types of projects and NFTs.
So basically, look. Yeah.
How are you doing? Well, and I'll just feel free to ask me. I'm also happy to discuss. Me and Dano have been building out for the past 8 months or so now, and there's a lot we can share.
10 months on us. 10 months have passed.
I'll have some difficult questions, specifically from the investment point of view, right? Because I understand. So the social, because it's community, the social part is huge, right? So that's where basically the gatherings come in. I know we saw some stuff about clubs, meetings, yard parties. You mentioned several things already. That is currently focused on Dubai. Dubai is the hub, right? I think most of our partners are all located in Dubai. When we have meetings, they request me to basically get there. Would you ever consider expanding beyond Dubai? If so, which locations would you have on the map?
That's a great question. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Right now we're planning to, the moment after we've done the drop, we're planning to expand primarily initially across the high per capita income countries in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, because we believe they have a lot of purchasing power and they are really interested in the space. But after that, we also have already people reaching out to us from Thailand, from Germany, from Holland, from London, from Colombia, from China, from Japan, from all over the world. And I think our goal is that we want to become a global brand. So, it sounds big, but given what we have been able to achieve just in the last few months, I think that goal is definitely achievable for us.
Cool. Yeah, definitely global domination. I mean, specifically that there's so much interest, right? But just a personal question. If you would explore the Arabic region, do you guys speak any Arabic? Or is that less relevant?
We have many people who speak Arabic. I myself, I'll be first to say, I learned Arabic for about 8 years when I was a kid and can read basic Arabic, but I'm not fluent in it. I do speak Mandarin, however, because I was raised in
also cool.
speak French. So I think we have a pretty diverse community, and on our team, we have people who speak Arabic. We have people on our team from all over the Middle East. What we've also been able to establish is a lot of interesting ambassadors to represent us. We've got an ambassador building out in Lebanon. We have one in Saudi. We have one coming out in Kuwait. Obviously, we're starting with Dubai as the base, given it's becoming kind of hub for the crypto NFT Web3 space. And we've built this community initially here very successfully. But we don't want to. We can't go from 0 to 100 just like that. You go from 0 to 1, and then when you get to 1, you then are able to then scale that across. And as Danosh had mentioned very well, we want to take it in stages. We've just actually spoken with a VC in Saudi who's interested in taking us there. So getting that plug in to come in would be, we would take it in stages.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. When we look at, let's say, the investment point of view, right? So they're NFTs. The main idea is you build up the treasury. Also takes time, right? Depending on the flips, 10% active capital, right? And the rest basically remains holds and potential any other actions there. How would the distribution work for any of the investors? Is there a quarterly calendar? Is it like dividends in cash, or is it converted to NFTs?
So given that we have been speaking a lot with lawyers on how to structure this in the best way, what we will be doing and incorporating is we're going to have a mechanism on our website, and it's going to take a few months for us to set that up. But our goal is that every 3 months you can connect. There's going to have a specific claim date window, like 1 week, where you go onto our website, you connect your MetaMask wallet, and you claim the profits that you have made. Now, we're not always going to be liquidating. So liquidating of assets is going to depend on the Jedi Council when they decide that but we will try to, as often as possible, return profits to the holders of the NFT so that they can connect to the wallet. And the way they would be receiving the profits would be in Ethereum. So it's going to be a very simple transaction where you connect, you claim, you click claim reward, and you receive back your Ethereum.
Perfect model. Makes a lot of sense.
A little bit, bear in mind that, so yesterday I was on a call with Louise DT, who is the founder of Fingerprints DAO. And Fingerprints is very interested in what we're building because they also, DAO to DAO, we're very passionate about other DAOs, and other DAOs, are seeing what we're doing here and want to also have boots on the ground here in the Middle East. And one of the things we talked about, so Fingerprints DAO is a big collector of smart contract art. They focus on things like autoglyphs, which have like a floor price of, 150 ETH, and they have a lot of these. Now, to sell, like you might have a huge portfolio. Let's say you have like loads of NFTs. The net asset value of that entire thing, of that entire portfolio, is, let's say, 20,000 ETH. Let's say in the case of Fingerprints, right? If Fingerprints were to try and liquidate the entire portfolio in one go, that would probably cause a bit of a vicious cycle, leading to the net asset value of that not being 1,000 ETH anymore, right?
Right.
So you can't liquidate a whole thing just like that in one shot. It takes time. Certain of the assets that you might collect might also require time to hold because maybe they go to auction later, or maybe they go, they're sold to specific buyers who want them. The way I see this is the whole reason why we put together a so-called Jedi Council of people who have experience in different facets of NFTs, from gaming, metaverse, art, utilities, etc., is so we can make the right decisions on when to progressively take profits and liquidate, right? So let's say we're at the 3-month period, or at the quarterly period, or the bi-yearly period, and there is a lot of stuff in our book which we can aim to take profit on, right? We would do our best to try and find and source a sale for those items, but ultimately it's not always like going to be possible to fire sale a whole set of assets. It also depends on what kind of assets you're holding. Are you holding a floor? If you're having a bunch of floor clones, that's easier to sell. If you're having our floor punks, those are relatively more easier to sell than if we end up buying a really rare punk or rare ape, etc. Right? That takes a little more time to kind of find a seller, or a buyer. Also, in those quarterly periods or bi-yearly periods, at the same time, there might be opportunities emerging whereby if we have capital available, it might be in the interest of the DAO to go in and opportunistically pick up those assets, right? So going back to your question very much makes sense when you're talking about a traditional fund invested in securities that are liquid, or in crypto crypto assets that are liquid, where you can very easily, let's say, liquidate 25% of the portfolio and then return value. It's not so much the case, I would say, in a collector's NFT sort of DAO, right? But what I do endeavor seeing is inevitably there will be airdrops that will come through. There will also be opportunities to also take loans off of your NFTs. And one thing that could be considered is a distribution coming out from unlocking some of that equity, if required and if decided by the DAO, right? There will also be whitelist opportunities, which are sort of quick flips, right? When those come through, those are easy to you take profits on those quick flips on the whitelist spots that you're getting, and that's sort of liquidity that you have that can be distributed, right? So I don't want to say this thing that we're doing is not a science. It's also very much an art. It requires progressive thinking, experimentation. There will also be new tools that will come out that we don't know of that will allow maybe some of the assets to be tokenized and redistributed. but we want to be on this path of experimentation, because that's how you learn. That's how you pioneer. That's how you break new ground. And here in the Middle East, there's nobody else doing this. We're the only one looking to do this right now. We have this wonderful community, and so don't want to miss out on that opportunity to do that.
So basically, in regards, let me hook in on something you said, because we just got an article through from Mirror, where basically folk can improve with Prism. I don't know if you've seen it. I think we just got in. The guy asking a very specific question in the chat is also the person, I believe, providing that article. Yes, it's the same person in the Digits Club Discord, but it's basically an article which states that folk and Prism improve. You can basically, they will share the NFT among a community of users. Tools as such, where basically you would one-on-one rent out of the treasury to a user for your community such an asset. Would that be something that you guys would implement, or is that looking for too much risk on the experimental side? Or is everything still to be considered in that case?
I'm not sure I fully understood the question.
Well, there's a lot of things with, like you mentioned, loans, right? But there's also shared access of NFTs, collateral, all kinds of options. Obviously, if these assets are in the treasury, they appreciate or depreciate, right? Yes. One or the two. But if you could bring more utility, as Anas mentioned, by doing these things, right? Would that be up for consideration consistently? Because it does carry risk, of course. If you're going to use NFTs as collateral or take out loans on them, that's not without risk. Would you be willing to experiment on that?
So the short answer is yes. However, what we do is we always try to mitigate risk as much as we can. So we obviously wouldn't, put the whole portfolio into
everything in goblins.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all about risk management, and I think risk management is the key word when it comes to investing. Especially most when you think about it, most NFT projects, they sell their NFT tokens and they're not really reinvesting the money on your behalf back for you. So what we are doing essentially is we're taking your money, but we're saying that, look, we believe that the hive mind is in our community is positioned well enough to do this better than all of us would be able to do it individually. And we are taking other people's money, and that is a responsibility. But with that comes also, a lot of exciting opportunities. And I think that our Jedi Council will make those decisions, and we will always make sure that they have your best interest in mind when making these investment decisions, and we don't, ape into stupid things without having a risk kind of mitigating approach in mind.
But just to add on that, bear in mind, this is all public. There's a Gnosis wallet, the treasury is there, the communities on Discord. The Jedi Council, a DAO will still operate being cognizant of what the community is thinking, right? If the community really thinks as a hive mind that X decision doesn't make sense, the Jedi Council isn't just going to necessarily execute just like that. There might be specific opportunities. Let's say, for example, another Moonbird kind of opportunity arises, right? And, quick action is required to be able to execute there. There it makes a lot of sense to take swift action, but you wouldn't want to risk, 80% of your portfolio on that, right? You probably look to risk a reasonable percentage, maybe 10, maybe less, 5%, right? On a trade that could really outweigh. And let me also say, look, the NFT space is a bit like VC investing. There's going to be winners and losers, right? If you bought into a Zuki, maybe early it's fine, but if you bought it later at a higher price, and then we watch the bear market happen and the issues that relate to it happen, these things happen, right? But then there were also winners, right? So if you had bought into a diversified portfolio across a number of different blue chips, you're still doing fine, right? You'd only need one significant winner to really outshine the rest of the losers for it to overall perform. And also the thing is, holding valuable and cool NFTs themselves attracts additional capital, opportunities. It attracts attention. interest. So that's also an important part of doing this, right? We want to open up more doors, right? Than just thinking about all those doors that are closed. One of the doors, for example, open to us was Emirates Airlines, right? Because of our community, because of the value of who we have, the expertise. You know, one of our members of the Jedi Council was able to successfully link us to Emirates Airlines. Now, I'm not saying that we've struck any agreement with them, but we had a discussion with them about how we could assist them as a DAO with their Web3 strategy, right? They're looking to launch NFTs in different ways. The DAO could assist them and take a percentage of their mint, which is a better kind of way of growing the portfolio than just buying illiquid NFTs and growing them necessarily, right? In this sense, service DAO as well. So these opportunities will come as we grow, as we experiment, as we and push boundaries out here.
Yeah, makes sense.
There's another question in the chat that I want to respond to as well, which is, I'll read it up aloud. So the question is, let me just open it up.
Quite a long one.
The question is, a lot of degens are more into quick flips or quick returns, but I think when you invest into blue chip collectibles, it's more long-term investment, at least a year, if not more. How would you manage the kind of the degen versus the passive investor kind of approach? So my response to that is, look, our NFT at the end of the day is an NFT. If someone wants to quick flip it, they will. What we believe is that the future, like the NFT projects that will really be successful in the future are the ones that bring massive utility back to their community and to their holders. Just this week, actually yesterday, we had a meeting with one of our VCs that's connected to 5 other NFT companies. And we were talking about all the different things that we can do together with these companies to bring as much utility back to our community members as possible. For example, I'll just give one example is, there is one company that does concierge services. Now, if we can offer that as a utility to all our holders, now that's just one thing, it's just the tip of the iceberg of the things that we are discussing. Or for example, if we would do something with Emirates and we can offer some sort of utility to our members as part of that. Now, this is all, ideas that we've been discussing right now, but we're looking to implement many of these things in the next 3 to 6 to 9 months. And I believe once we start implementing this, not only will there be a lot of talk about Artsdao, but people will start buying into the NFT Eternal Gates, and people will become more and more interested in it. So for those that are into the quick flips, yes, you can flip it and you can make a profit out of it, but it's a little bit like saying, in my opinion, I wouldn't flip it. It's like holding on to potentially a future blue chip, and you flip it at this point in time. And my goal and my vision, and us shares that, is for us to become one of the next blue chip NFTs, similar to Yuga Labs, what they're doing with Bored Apes, similar to Proof Collective. That is kind of where we want to go, and anyone that flips it at 0.449 or 0.59 or even like 1 ETH, I think that would be a very short-term, kind of viewpoint on the value of the project.
Solid answer. I mean, it's a difficult one because obviously that NFT audience is so broad, right? So there's definitely two sides to the equation. So definitely also a good question in that case. When we look at the council and the DAO, right? Jedi Council, you mentioned, how are those individually going to be elected? Is it just like a Discord vote, or is it like a way on the NFTs and then a dashboard? How does that work?
So initially we have elected 16 people ourselves, because we have spoken to various community members, and we know most of our members, very, very closely. So we know that all these 16 are like way, way better than we are individually, and they can bring so much value to us. And we're so happy that every single person we actually asked, accepted their role to become a Jedi Council member. But after that, every 6 months there will be a Discord vote. So you will have to connect with your wallet to a specific channel on Discord, and you will be able to vote on whether or not that person, specific Jedi Council member, should stay or not. But our belief is that if they do a good job, we don't see that anyone will want to propose any changes to the council.
What I'll say as well about the council is each member of the council, we have initially selected this council to be adding value in different ways. The council is now a broad term, but we foresee as the DAO progresses, that within this council will emerge subgroups, so to speak, right? We have, like, not everybody on this council is a trader, so to speak, right? And that's not the intention. If we had a whole council of hardcore traders, it would be a very one-dimensional kind of DAO. This is a collector's DAO that we're looking to build serious market infrastructure within the Middle East. That means, having the right ties with government. That means having the right ties with venture capitalists. That means having the right ties with other corporates in the Middle East. That means also having ties with potentially thought leaders, celebrities, if that's true as well, institutions, right? So we've selected members of the council on that basis as well, because personally, I haven't really introduced myself, but I used to be a crypto lawyer. I practiced law for more than 6 years. I did M&A in London. I also did it here, and I used to be a crypto lawyer with checkout.com, working with a number of I worked with all the major exchanges in the world, like Binance, FTX, Coinbase, etc. But what I did spend a lot of time with during my time there is working with regulators, working with a central bank, talking to them, understanding X, Y. Like, I would love to see Artsdao influence DAO regulations in the Middle East to some extent, setting the law to some extent, right? Speaking with those people and forming the setting out how it's sort of done out here, because there's no real regulation around that. Then at the same time, with that kind of background, being able to then leverage, like for me, doing the flips and stuff with a collector's DAO is great. That's part of it, right? And that adds like a store of value to the portfolio. But the real value, in my view, which has yet to be unlocked, is working with corporates, because it's going to happen, right? Major corporates are going to enter the space. They're also going to be looking for an NFT-related metaverse strategy. If Artsdao, being the leading kind of Web3 community here, can serve these corporates and earn significant sums, whether it's through NFTs being airdropped, whether it's through, getting a percentage of the mint, whether it's through backing whatever, or whether it's through sponsorships in some way, that is a bigger value add to the brand, to the Artsdao brand, to the portfolio, which then leads to the token value, in my view, going up and becoming like a sort of proof collective, right? We then are also able to curate specific drops, right? So the community is able to get an access to, let's say, XYZ kind of corporate related kind of NFT drop, right? We're then also able to maybe get airdrops in that sense because we're doing that kind of collaboration. We can also do private auctions, right? Because we're connected with the right kind of, communities or, other art brands here. The Artsdao community is able to participate in a private auction for a particular kind of NFT, right? So people get specific first round access. We then become potentially, if this works out in our vision, a kind of rival to Christie's, right? For NFTs here in the Middle East. Some of the other things that the DAO is then able to also do is kind of brokerage within the community, right? Because we've already seen this within our community. Some people are buying NFTs from each other within there and skipping the OpenSea fees. We've seen this happen actually recently when somebody bought $1 million worth of clones from another person in our community. So us acting as an escrow provider, that adds value, again, to the token. It adds value to the DAO. The DAO, remember, DAOs are very much a type of experimentation. We shouldn't think of them simply as investment vehicles, right? We shouldn't just think of Artsdao as this is an investment vehicle like a fund, and I'm part of this DAO just to get a return. You can think of it that way, but we built Artsdao initially as a football DAO. We built it initially initially to host and bring people together. In doing so, a lot of great ideas have come through. In doing so, we've also made a lot of people a lot of money because of the incredible whitelist spots we've attracted, the alpha that's been shared as a result. Remember, a DAO is also kind of like a small city or a small government, a small town with various different people and interests. We want to develop ways to get the community together, to work together, so the benefit of the DAO then grows, right? The treasury itself, yes, we are looking for it to be deployed into NFTs with the objective of returning profit to everybody. That's obviously the big vision. But the DAO can also use its treasury to incentivize people, to bring deal flow, or to build. We can back founders in the DAO and then get an allocation on their NFT drop. There's a lot that can be done with a DAO like this.
So basically, for the timeline, right? You would go towards the mint, and then the implementation for the next, 2 months is to be found in the white paper, right? Which you have. And then thereafter, it's kind of anticipate on, of course, market conditions, but also on how things actually develop, what the DAO wants to do and where the expertise is. Is that like the right summary?
I would say definitely we're looking to deploy capital, right? We want to deploy and buy right now, especially in this bear market. There are tons of steals that are available. A Fidenza here, and a CloneX, a Punk, maybe a Bored Ape. There are very attractive NFTs to be bought right now, right? So we definitely want to do that, and then that adds value. And the idea is you buy it close to the bottom. You'll never catch the bottom, but you'll catch it definitely at a price below where it was 3 months ago. And then the view is across time that go up. That's the initial consideration, right? Now then we will also want to deploy capital into other DAOs because fund-of-fund exposure. So for example, speaking to Louise at Fingerprints, if we were to buy some exposure to Fingerprints DAO, that gives Artsdao exposure to the Fingerprints portfolio, which includes autoglyphs. So we don't have to buy an autoglyph ourselves. We can have some exposure to the autoglyph portfolio through Fingerprints DAO, and whatever alpha comes through as well, right? The alpha that will come through from Fingerprints is very valuable because they have people there from like the Coinbase CEO is in there. There's, the founders of OpenSea who are members of Fingerprints. There's a lot of very valuable people in there. You could say the same thing for Flamingo or Pleaser, right? So a number of other DAOs are coming out. So I would say we are opportunistic, right? We want to buy a collection of blue chips to give the DAO some portfolio value and flip and kind of watch that go up. We want to have some funds available to deploy and obtain access to alpha and deal flow that would otherwise not be available for the everyday public. Buying some of this deal flow might entitle us to valuable whitelists, which can then be flipped. For example, you guys maybe have seen Chimpers, right? Chimpers were issued at 0.07 ETH, but when they minted, they were immediately at 4 or 5 ETH, 6 ETH, right? So having access to those kinds of opportunities, it would be the goal of Artsdao, because that's where you see huge increase in the value of the treasury.
Yeah, makes sense. I get the model, really nice. In terms of the actual mint, you mentioned eternalgates.io is the place to be. How does that work? Could you elaborate on that?
Sure. So if anyone's interested to find out a bit more about Artsdao, you can check out artsdao.io. But we have a separate page for security reasons called eternalgates.io. It's also the name on the project. Eternal comes from the words Ethereum and eternal. So you can find a lot of information about the token on that page. Basically on the day of the mint, so we would suggest that you get whitelisted for this, and I believe we have promised your community a few whitelist spots as well.
If only we had some.
So we will see if we have whitelist spots available, and if you're whitelisted, the mint will happen on the 4th of June. If not, the mint will happen on the 5th of June. The token essentially not only gives you exposure to the treasury and to the fund, to the investments, but it also gives you access to our events. So if you want to participate in any of our events, and we are looking to expand the events outside of Middle East as well. So if you want to participate in any of those, you will be able to use your NFT. But we are looking to launch loads more interesting partnerships and utilities for anyone that holds the NFT. And I'm pretty sure that no one's going to really be disappointed by owning an Artsdao token.
So the 4th of June for the whitelist, 5th of June. Is there any price difference between the whitelist and the public mint?
So the whitelist is 0.49 and the public is 0.59.
All right, so still quite affordable. That's definitely
but bear in mind, it's basically your funds are going into the treasury, right? So it's not like it's 0.49 and that's it. Like it's if you want to put some kind of thinking around it, it's 0.49, but 0.39 of that goes into the treasury, and we're retaining 0.1 from the mint for some of our operational expenditure, the staff that we need to, etc. Right? So it's 80% invested. Let me also say, if you read our white paper, you'll also see that our holding entity will take a percentage of the profits generated by the DAO. But we will only do that, and I haven't highlighted this in the white paper, so I will amend this. We will only take any percentage if we beat a hurdle rate of 300%. So we won't take any profits unless we have delivered a profit exceeding, at least 3x, which I think is fair.
Yeah, I mean, like compared to normal markets where you get like a 6.8% return annually, I think 300% it would be a great achievement, and you should get a reward for that at that point. I mean, if you could cover operations with the 20%, that's great. I think that's already quite low. So that's really well optimized. And then
yeah, that's why we also take VC money. So the VCs are actually funding our operations to a big part. So so someone asked where can they find the white paper. So the white paper they can find on artsdao.io. But the Eternal Gates website is mainly for minting. So I'm not sure if the team has put the white paper on Eternal Gates as well.
After Eternal Gates, would there ever be another collection for this once everything grows?
I mean, it's too soon to say. We haven't thought about it. Our main focus is on this right now. But just like Proof Collective, they did the Moonbirds. That's we don't close any doors to doing something like that.
Sure, definitely. All right, everything is super clear to me. Do you guys have anything else you would like to add to this?
No, I think I really enjoyed the questions, and also enjoyed you guys hosting us. Thank you so much for that. And also really interested in reading up more and hearing more about what you guys are doing at some point. Happy to do an AMA with our community as well. We do have a very strong community already, but we're just looking to expand that, and anyone from your community that would like to join us, more than happy to have you guys on board.
I will definitely join just for the parties, right? So I'll grant myself one whitelist spot. Danush, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Once we roll everything out, I'll be in touch, and I look forward to see what's going to happen next week. But I think it will be a great success. So well done, guys. So far, I'm quite impressed, and I hope to catch up with you guys after the mint.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers. Have a good one.
Cheers. Bye.